Okay, 7-2B, we're going to do the same thing we did for 7-1A, but we're going to use LIFO this time, so last in, first out. Okay, again, step 1, record the inventory, purchases and cost of merchandise sold, and the perpetual inventory record similar to the one in Exhibit 4 using last in, first out, and determine the total sales, total cost of merchandise, and gross profit from sales for the period. Okay. So again, we're using the same data from 7-1, but we're just doing it for LIFO instead of FIFO. So you'll see at the top of your Excel tab or the top of your working papers that it does say LIFO. And I'm going to circle the letter B so I know I'm doing B. So I'm going to start with my date is April 3rd. Again, I'm going to stay primarily to my working papers and just read from my textbook so that you don't get dizzy going back and forth. So on April 3rd, we had primary our beginning inventory, of 25 units. Okay, so I'm going to come over here to my inventory, 25 units at $1,200 each for a total of $30,000. Okay. So then on April 8th, we had a purchase of 75 units for $1,240 and a total of $93,000. Okay, so again, because I'm keeping track of my LIFO and FIFO, I do need to keep these numbers separate. So I'm going to put a line there so I know I can see the difference just like before. So I need to keep track of this 2,500 or 25 units. I'm sorry. And then I'm going to pull my 75 over. Okay, and again, I'm going to put a line under that so I know that that's separate from my next transaction. So this is my current inventory, these two numbers. Okay. On April 11th, okay, so we sold, according to our textbook, 40. So I'm going to write my 40 in there. And if I look over here at my inventory, remember I'm doing last in, first out. So our last in was this group of 75. So this is going to be 1,240. And when I multiply those two numbers together, I get 49,600. Okay. Now when I'm keeping track of my inventory, I still have my 25 that I started with. So I'm going to copy that down. And now I have 75 minus the 40. So now I have 35 of those. Okay. And when I multiply those numbers together, I get 43,400. Put my line in there. Again, the lines are optional. This is so that I can keep track for my own mentality. So now here is my current inventory. Okay. So then my next date is April 30th. And on April 30th, I had another sale, this time for 30. So I'm going to go ahead and jot down my 30. So last in, first out. So I'm going to look at my last number in my inventory, which right here is 35. So I can pull from that. So they're going to be at 1,240. Okay. 30 times the 1,240 is 37,200. Again, keeping track of my inventory, I still have this 25 that I started with. And then 35 minus the 30 I just sold gives me 5 left. 5 times 1,240 is 6,200. Okay. The next transaction is going to be on May 8th. And on May 8th, I purchased 60 units at $1,260 for a total of $75,600. Okay. Now, again, tracking my inventory, I still have this 25. I still have this 5. And now I just added 60 more. Okay. Next transaction on May 10th, I had a sale of 50 units. Now, I'm going to jot down the number 50 there. And if I look, again, last in, so I'm looking at the bottom. So I can pull 50 right here from this group of 60 for 1260, so 1,260. 50 times 1,260 gives me 63,000. So again, I still have that 25 that we started with. I still have that 5 from before. Okay, 60 minus the 50 gives me 10. 10 times 1,260 gives me 12,600. Okay, so I'm going to draw my line there. My next transaction is going to be May 19th. On May 19th, I sold 20 more. Now, I'm going to jot the number 20 down, but I'm going to be changing that momentarily. So, last in, first out, we started with 10, right? So I'm going to erase that 20. I only have 10 in the first section. This is why I do this in pencil. So 10 times 1260 is 12,600. Now I sold 20. So I got to go up to the next one because I've now used this one. This one's gone. So now I'm going to go up to the next one and there's 5 there. So I'm going to pull that 5, 1,240, 6,200. Now 20 minus 10 minus 5 leaves me with 5 more. Okay, so this last 5 is going to be pulled out of this 25 for 1,200. So 5 times 1,200 gives me 6,000. Okay, so I've used this one, and I need to subtract 5 from that one. So now 25 minus 5 gives me 20 at 1,200, and 20 times 1,200 is 24,000. So I have now taken my inventory down to just this 24,000. Okay, because I used the 10, I used the 5, and I subtracted 5 from that one. Okay, on the 28th, we purchased 80 units at 1,260 for a total of 100,800. Okay, so keeping track of our inventory, I have 20 of those. And then I have 80 of these new ones that I just bought. Okay, so this becomes my new inventory. Okay, the next one is going to be June 5th. And on June 5th, we had a sale of 40 items. Okay, so we sold 40 items. Our last in was 80 at 1260, so this 40 is going to be at 1260. 40 times 1260 is 50,400. Tracking my inventory, I still have that 20. 80 minus 40 gives me the 40 at 1260. 40 times 1260 is 50,400. Okay, so then this becomes my new inventory. On June 16th, we had another sale, this time for 25. If I check my inventory, I have this 40 for 1260 left. So 25 times 1260 is 31,500. 40, I'm sorry, I still have this 20, so I got to bring that down. I almost forgot. 40 minus the 25 gives me 15 left at the 1260. 15 times 1260 is 18,900. Okay, so there's my new inventory. June 21st, We purchased 35 at $12.64 for a total of $44,240. Okay, so all we're going to do is bring down our inventory from above. And then add the next set to it. Okay, so now all three of these are my new inventory. And then on June 28th, we had a sale of 44. I'm going to write that up here really small. Okay, so if I look over here, I have 35 here. So the 35 for $12.64. I needed 44, so 44 minus 35 gives me 9. I do have 9 here, so 1,260. 9 times 1260 is 11,340. Okay, so look at my inventory. I used this and I used 9 of those. So I still have the 20. $15 minus 9 gives me 6. At the 1260, 6 times 1260 is 7560. Okay, again, I didn't give you enough lines. I'll fix that before I upload them. So then our last one is going to say 30, and we're going to find some balances here. We need to find the balance in our cost of merchandise sold column. So again, we're going to take all of these cost of merchandise sold numbers and add them up, and we get 312.80. Okay, so this is our total cost of merchandise sold. Over here, we were already keeping track of our inventory, so all we have to do is take these last two numbers and add them together, and we'll find out that our ending inventory is right here. Okay. So this is our total cost of merchandise sold and our ending inventory. Now, the next thing we're going to do is, I'm going to flip this over. Again, I'll give you guys a spreadsheet to do this in, but the next question asks us to determine the total sales. Okay, so I'm going to look through my transactions, and on April 11th, I had a sale of 40 items for $2,000 per item and a total of $80,000. On the 30th, again, it looks very familiar. So when you're doing this, you know, we've already calculated this from the previous problem. So you can't just look back at that previous problem. I'm going to do it again just for review purposes. And again, I am just pulling all of this right from your textbook. Okay, just pulling it all right from your book. $2,000 seems to be our price point here for whatever it is that we're selling. And then it looks like right around June we decided to raise our prices to $2,250. And then our last one was the 28th. And again, you're going to add up all of those numbers and you get $525,250. So this problem then asked us to find our gross profit. So we're going to take this $525,250. This is our total sales. And we're going to subtract our cost of merchandise sold, which we found on the flip side of our paper, to be $312.80. Okay. Once we subtract those numbers, we get $213,170. And this tells us our gross profit. Okay, so this is how much we actually made using our LIFO system. So from here, you can go ahead and head over to your assignments and get those done and turned in. Have a great week.